Radio operator. Emergency transmission from Pearl Harbor. A massive Japanese task force is approaching Hawaii. We have confirmed 10 battleships, 3 aircraft carriers, and a large invasion fleet heading directly for Oahu. Enemy naval guns are already bombarding our coastal defenses. Japanese troops are landing on the beaches. If reinforcements do not arrive within hours, Honolulu will fall. I repeat, Honolulu will fall.
That transmission was never sent, but it could have become America's greatest nightmare. For that to happen, Japan needed just one thing: a fleet unlike any the world had ever seen. A fleet built around the most powerful battleships ever constructed. Today, we explore one fascinating question. What if Japan had completed all 4 Yamato-class battleships and successfully captured Hawaii? The answer could have changed the course of the Pacific War forever. To understand this alternate history, we must travel back nearly 40 years. In 1905, Japan stunned the world by defeating the Russian Empire at the Battle of Tsushima. The Imperial Japanese Navy almost completely destroyed the Russian Baltic Fleet. That victory transformed Japanese naval thinking for decades to come. Japanese admirals became convinced that every great naval war could be won in a single decisive battle. This strategy became known as the Kantai-Kessen Doctrine. They believed one overwhelming victory would force the United States to negotiate for peace. The plan was remarkably simple. Allow the enemy fleet to cross the Pacific. Wear it down with submarines, aircraft and destroyers. Then destroy what remained in one decisive battle close to Japan. But such a strategy demanded an extraordinary weapon. Japan knew it could never outproduce the United States. Even before the war, America's economy was nearly 5 times larger than Japan's. American shipyards were producing warships faster than Japan could ever hope to match. Japan had only one choice. If it could not build more ships, it had to build better ones. Instead of building the world's largest fleet, Japan chose to build the world's most powerful battleships. In October 1935, one of the most secret naval projects in history officially began. Its code name was Project A-140. History would remember it by a far more famous name, Yamato. Construction took place under extraordinary secrecy. Entire shipyards were concealed beneath enormous camouflage roofs to prevent foreign intelligence from discovering the true size of the vessel. Even many of the workers never realized what they were actually building. The Imperial Japanese Navy intended to surprise the entire world. Yamato measured 263 meters in length with a beam of almost 40 meters. At full load, she displaced more than 72,000 tons, making her the largest battleship ever built. Her main armament consisted of 9 460mm naval guns, mounted in 3 triple turrets. They remain the largest naval guns ever fitted to a battleship. Each gun barrel weighed around 160 tons. Every armor-piercing shell weighed nearly 1.5 tons. The guns could strike targets more than 40 kilometers away. One full broadside unleashed over 13 tons of steel and explosives. Her secondary armament included 12 155mm guns mounted in 4 triple turrets, 12 127mm dual-purpose guns in 6 twin mounts, and 52 25mm anti-aircraft guns for close-range defense. She also carried 7 reconnaissance float planes used to spot enemy ships and direct artillery fire. Her armor reached an incredible thickness of 500mm in the most heavily protected sections. Powered by 153,553 horsepower, Yamato could reach a top speed of 27.4 knots, or approximately 51 kilometers per hour. In terms of firepower and armor protection, she surpassed every American battleship of her era. Unlike the United States, Japan was not constrained by the dimensions of the Panama Canal. That freedom allowed Japanese engineers to build a true giant of the sea. For a moment, it seemed Japan had created a weapon capable of changing the course of history. But history had other plans, and that is where our alternate story truly begins. In reality, the Yamato program was never fully completed. The Imperial Japanese Navy originally planned to build 4 Yamato-class battleships: Yamato, Musashi, Shinano, and a 4th sister ship. But the war changed everything. Shinano was converted into an aircraft carrier before completion, while construction of the 4th battleship was cancelled altogether. As the conflict dragged on, Japan faced shrinking resources, crippling fuel shortages, and relentless Allied pressure. The dream of an unstoppable battleship fleet slowly disappeared. But this is where history begins to change. Imagine that in 1940, the Imperial Japanese General Staff makes a very different decision. The completion of all 4 Yamato-class battleships becomes Japan's highest naval priority. Shinano remains a battleship instead of being converted into an aircraft carrier. Construction of the 4th battleship is accelerated and completed ahead of schedule. To make this possible, Japan scales back the construction of several heavy cruisers and support vessels. Instead, the Navy focuses on producing more modern destroyers to screen and protect its capital ships. By the time Japan launches its next major offensive, all 4 Yamato-class battleships are operational alongside several fleet carriers and dozens of escorting destroyers. For the first time, the Imperial Japanese Navy possesses the decisive battle fleet its admirals had dreamed of for decades. Then came Pearl Harbor. The attack is a stunning tactical success. But within days, Japanese commanders realize they have made one critical mistake. The Pacific Fleet has been crippled, but it has survived. Most of the repair docks, fuel depots and naval infrastructure remain intact. More importantly, the American aircraft carriers are nowhere to be found. Those carriers remain Japan's greatest threat. After reviewing the operation, the Japanese General Staff reaches a new conclusion. Attacking Midway would be too risky. Instead, they decide to finish what they started at Pearl Harbor. Their objective is no longer to strike Hawaii. It is to capture it. The operation is divided into 4 phases. First comes another massive carrier airstrike. Next, the 4 Yamato-class battleships bombard Hawaii's coastal defences. Then the Imperial Navy establishes a complete naval blockade around the islands. Finally, Japanese troops launch a full-scale amphibious assault on Oahu. It would become the largest naval operation in Japanese history. Leading the fleet are the 4 Yamato-class battleships. Behind them sail Japan's fleet carriers. Destroyers and light cruisers protect both flanks of the formation. Farther behind, transport ships carry thousands of soldiers toward Hawaii. American intelligence detects unusual Japanese naval activity. But by the time the scale of the operation becomes clear, it is already too late. Pearl Harbor once again sounds the alarm. Coastal batteries prepare for battle. American aircraft scramble into the sky. Then Japanese carrier aircraft appear over Oahu for the second time. Bombs begin falling across airfields, fuel depots, ammunition dumps, and defensive positions. While American forces struggle to respond, enormous silhouettes emerge on the horizon. The 4 largest battleships ever built have arrived. Minutes later, their 460mm guns unleash a devastating bombardment. 1.5-ton shells smash into American coastal fortifications with terrifying force. One coastal battery after another falls silent. American cruisers and destroyers attempt to escape the harbor. But outside the entrance, the main Japanese battle fleet is already waiting. The sea erupts in artillery fire. Several American cruisers are badly damaged within minutes. Destroyers launch desperate torpedo attacks against the Japanese formation. But they are met by overwhelming battleship fire and relentless attacks from Japanese aircraft. Soon, American carrier aircraft become Japan's greatest threat. Wave after wave of bombers and torpedo planes attacks the Yamato-class battleships. Their anti-aircraft batteries fill the sky with exploding shells. Dozens of American aircraft are shot down. Yet even the world's most powerful battleships cannot stop every attack. As the naval battle reaches its climax, Japanese landing ships begin approaching the beaches of Oahu. The battle for Hawaii has begun. Japanese troops secure a foothold on the beaches of Oahu under the cover of battleship gunfire. American forces fight desperately, street by street. But without reinforcements or reliable supply lines, their situation quickly becomes hopeless. The Japanese naval blockade tightens around Hawaii. Every attempt to break through is met with overwhelming force. After days of relentless fighting, Honolulu finally falls. For the first time in modern history, the United States loses its most important military stronghold in the Pacific. Hawaii has fallen. In Tokyo, celebrations erupt. The Imperial Japanese Navy appears unstoppable. Control of Hawaii gives Japan temporary dominance over the Central Pacific. American operations across the region are thrown into chaos. For a brief moment, it seems Japan has changed the course of history. But beneath the celebrations, a far more dangerous battle is already beginning. Not on the ocean, but inside America's factories. While Japan celebrates its greatest naval victory, American industry shifts onto a full wartime footing. Shipyards operate around the clock. New aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines, transport ships, and thousands of aircraft leave the production lines month after month. Japan simply cannot compete with that level of industrial output. Holding Hawaii quickly becomes a logistical nightmare. The islands lie more than 6,000 kilometers from Japan. Every liter of fuel, every artillery shell, every spare part, and every soldier must cross the Pacific Ocean. American submarines begin hunting Japanese supply convoys without mercy. Transport ships disappear beneath the waves one after another. With them go fuel, ammunition, food, and reinforcements. The Japanese garrison on Hawaii slowly becomes isolated. Even 4 Yamato-class battleships cannot solve that problem. Without supplies, no army can survive for long. As the months pass, the United States launches its largest counteroffensive of the Pacific War. Hundreds of carrier aircraft fill the skies. A new American fleet appears on the horizon. The 4 Yamato-class battleships put to sea once again to meet the enemy. They inflict heavy losses on the advancing American fleet. But this time, it is not enough. American air power grows stronger with every passing month. More submarines sever Japan's supply lines. More warships leave American shipyards. The tide of war begins to turn once again. Even the most powerful battleship ever built cannot fight aircraft, submarines, and the industrial might of an entire nation at the same time. That becomes the defining lesson of the Pacific War. So, could 4 Yamato-class battleships really have changed history? Perhaps they could have captured Hawaii. Perhaps they could have delayed the American advance by months, or even longer. Perhaps they could have inflicted far greater losses on the United States Navy. But defeating the world's greatest industrial power was an entirely different challenge. In the end, the Second World War was decided not only by bigger guns or thicker armour, it was decided by factories, fuel, logistics, and the ability to replace losses faster than the enemy. That is why Yamato remains one of history's greatest engineering achievements. And at the same time, it stands as a reminder that even the most powerful weapon ever built cannot guarantee victory. But what do you think? Could 4 Yamato-class battleships really have changed the outcome of the Pacific War? Or would America's overwhelming industrial power have guaranteed victory regardless? Tell us what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this alternate history and would like to see more realistic what-if scenarios based on real historical events, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.